What's up guys, my name's Levi, this is Shred Shop connecting you to skateboarding, and today we're going to talk about how to buy a skateboard. So you're buying a skateboard, hey? Well, let me tell you, you're off to a great start because you've chosen this over scootering. Now, when you walk into a skate shop, it can feel uncomfortable. I know, I get it, but we're here to teach you how to buy your first skateboard. In this video, we're gonna cover the different types of skateboards there are, the different parts that you use on a skateboard, and different price points, and how to make the purchase that works for you. Now, when you're buying a skateboard, there's two different families of skateboards. There's cruiser boards and there's skateboards. A skateboard is a traditional style that you take to skate parks and you do tricks on. A cruiser board is used more for transportation and getting around. In this video, we're going to talk about how to buy a skateboard, the one you can do tricks on, not a cruiser. When you're buying your first board, you want to head down to your local skate shop for a couple reasons. It's the most high quality product, and they're going to help you find the board that works for you. If you go to the mall or a sports store, the product is going to be cheap and it's not going to last very long and it won't work how it's supposed to. If you go online, you might buy something that you don't necessarily need. And so make sure you head to your local skate shop. If you don't have one in your town or your city, head to the city over from you. Now, there's two different price points when it comes for buying a skateboard. You can buy a complete that's ready to go, everything's pre-built and put together for you, or you can build your own piece by piece. If you're buying a pre-built one, the price range is around $100 to $130. The pre-built ones are definitely the more price-conscious option. You don't get to customize things, but everything, as long as it's from a local skate shop, is gonna work pretty good. And the cool thing is, if you decide on the pre-built one and you ride it for a year, your level of skating goes up, your tricks get better, you can change out each individual piece. You don't have to buy a whole new complete next time. You could change the deck if this one gets soggy or broken. You could buy new wheels if you wanted some that were smaller or bigger, or faster bearings. Now let's get into it. Let's talk about sizes of skateboards. There's many different skateboard sizes, but they're not sized the way that bicycles or skis are. Like for skis or bikes, it's how long your legs are or how tall you are. Whereas for skateboards, there are many different factors to consider when choosing your pieces. You consider things like your height, the size of your feet, and what type of skateboarding you're gonna be doing. So for instance, a narrower or skinnier board is easier to do flip tricks and to do more technical style of skating, whereas a slightly wider board is gonna be better to go a little bit faster, it's a little bit more stable, and you can ride bigger ramps with it. But as your level of skateboarding advances, all of these things are personal preference and they're all interchangeable. You can skate really whatever you want. But that's enough preamble. Let's help you build a board. If you guys like this video, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment. It helps us give you more videos and you guys can keep watching them. Let's start first with the deck. This is the most exciting thing to pick out because it has the biggest graphic. This is my personal favorite. With the boards, you can obviously get different sizes and shapes. When you pick two boards up, no two are alike. The shapes of boards can be so different. When you move away from the traditional popsicle shape that's shaped like an oval, most of the boards that are shaped like old schools, we call them shaped boards, can only be ridden one way because the nose is really short and the tail's really long. And so a popsicle is what we lean into for skateboard tricks because it can be ridden both ways and it's easy to ride switch, nollie, or do flip tricks on. So we suggest if you want to do tricks, buy a popsicle shape. If you want to just cruise the bowl, you want to rip around, you can buy a shape board if you like. Next thing we'll talk about is a deck size. There's a few different measurements to pay attention to on a board, but right now we're going to talk about the main one, and that's the width of the board. The width of the board is measured in inches, and for an adult, we usually recommend riding a size 8, which is an 8-inch board, or above. An 8-inch board is good if you're doing technical tricks, flip tricks, things like that, but a wider board might give you more stability if you're doing less flip tricks and you're just doing ollies and ripping around, riding bowl and things like that. It's also easier to balance on a wider board, but a lot harder to flip. The majority of people these days ride an 8 1/4 because it gives you the stability of a wide board, but you can still do tricks on it. Once you have your deck, you need to put grip tape on it. That's the sandpaper grippy stuff that sticks to the top. It allows your feet to stick to the board so you can manipulate. There's so many different styles and graphics that you can get in this, but the most common style is just an all black grip tape. Now let's keep going. We're gonna look at trucks for your skate. These are the metal objects that are attached to the bottom of your board. They also have your wheels attached to them and they allow you to turn and to grind. There's a couple different measurements on the truck, but the one that really matters is the width. When you're buying trucks, you want them to be within a 1/4 inch of the width of your board. The best way to find that is to ask someone behind the counter to help you, or we have a full size guide on trucks in the link below. One thing to pay attention to on your trucks is the bushings. Now those are the rubber things that is the turning mechanism on the truck. You can change out bushings on any trucks. As you advance in skill level, you can manipulate based on preference. But a good base rule when you're beginning is to base how hard you want your bushings off of your weight. If you're a heavier person, you're 200 to 250, you might want to ride some harder bushings. Now if you go lighter, you can get medium or soft bushings. What usually comes stock in every truck is a soft to medium bushing. You'll notice there's a bolt on the top of the bushings. You can tighten or loosen that. Basically, the tighter the bolt is, the harder it is to turn your trucks. The looser it is, the easier it is to turn your trucks. If you're buying your first board, it might be worth buying a skate tool so you can tighten or loosen your trucks and tinker and fix your board along the way. You don't need a flashy skate tool, the most basic one will do. Next, you need hardware. These are the nuts and bolts that hold your trucks to your deck. You can't ride your skateboard without a set of these. For hardware, generally a standard 1-inch length should work on most boards. Now let's get you rolling. Let's talk about wheels. There's two main things to pay attention to on a wheel: what size the wheel is and the durometer. The durometer is a scale we use for how hard or soft the wheel is. A soft wheel in the durometer scale is around an 86, and a hard wheel goes up to 103. The most commonly sold wheel on earth is a 99. A soft wheel gives you less vibrations and gives you a smooth ride, but it's a little bit grippier. A hard wheel slides a little bit and it goes faster at skate parks. So if you're cruising around town on the sidewalk, you want a soft wheel, and if you're hitting the skate park every day, you want a hard wheel. Now let's talk size of the wheel. The scale of wheels is measured in millimeters. On the high end, it's usually about a 60 millimeter. On the low end, it's about a 50 millimeter. Where you really want big wheels is if you want to go fast and you want to ride over pebbles easier. But the flip side is that they're heavier and they're harder to do tricks with. That might work for some, but 90% of the wheels that we sell in our store are between 52 and 54 millimeters. Now your wheel can't spin if you don't have bearings. Now these are the pieces that go inside your wheel and they determine how fast you'll go. We carry bearings at our shop from the price point of $9 all the way up to $200. But most customers buy between the $20 and the $35 range for bearings. The two most common brands that most people seem to love are the Bronson G3s or the Bones Reds bearings. A very important thing, that bearings are made of metal, so you don't want to get them wet or they will rust and they'll seize. So don't ride your board through puddles and don't leave your board out in the rain. The way skateboarding goes is as you advance and as you change, you'll get different preferences. And as that comes along, you can change out the different parts of your skateboard. But you don't need to break the bank to get started. You don't need the highest end stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Levi, this is Shred Shop connecting you to skateboarding, and you just watched how to buy a skateboard. If you want to know even more about how to buy a skateboard and how to work with it, there's a link below that goes into way more depth. And if you still have more questions, make sure you guys phone your local skate shop or give us a call. It's at Shred Shop on Instagram or shredshop.com.